Hello. A while ago, I went to visit a, a religious place. I'm not going to say which group it was because I don't think that's fair. But it's a religious community, and I was there. I think I arrived about 8 o'clock in the morning, and they were saying Lord's at about 8:30. And I sat in the narthex just outside the oratory where the community was praying. And while I was there, um, about 20 to 9, just 10 minutes after Lord's had begun, a group of people came in and sat in sort of the narthex, and they started chatting away. And I could hear Lord's going on, because as I say, it was a religious community. I'm not part of that community, so I couldn't really go in and join it. So there I was in the narthex, trying to listen and hear Lord's being prayed. And these people came and they started chatting. And it turned out that what they were waiting for the 9 o'clock Mass. And that rather upset me because they were waiting for the Mass, but they were clearly making quite a lot of noise. And I'm sure this could quite definitely be heard in the oratory. And it was also clear that these people were sort of regulars at the religious institution. And I just felt that they sort of summed up the sort of the spirit of the sort of the 1960s, which affected Roman Catholicism, affected Anglicanism, and affected the sort of the more liturgical Protestantism, where the liturgy became seen as sort of a means to an end. You'd go to Mass when you come home again. You knew you'd done your bit. You'd been to Mass. You'd had the sacrament. You could come home again. Or going to morning and evening prayer. You'd been and come back. You'd done your bit. And home you came again. And it also reminded me of another time. It was a time for me when I was a reader in the Church of England. When I was trying to lead an early evening prayer. There was a function on at the church in the evening. And I'd arranged with the parish that I would move my evening prayer earlier so that people could get ready. So I started evening prayer. All of a sudden, in walks a churchwarden, marches straight past me. There I am with my tiny congregation, saying evening prayer, and she marches past, and she's getting things done and sorted. And again, seeing the liturgy as inconsequential. She wanted to get things done for the event in the evening, whatever that event was. My memory doesn't go that far back. The way we approach liturgy is vitally important. And I rather suspect that many of the troubles that we see in the current state of the church is because we've lost the ability to pray properly, to pray liturgically. And if we see our liturgy, whether it be the liturgy for morning and evening prayer, whether it be for the Mass, whether it be for religious offices, Lord's Terce, Sexton, Nona, etc., Would it be the marriage service, baptismal service? We have to treat the liturgy with the greatest respect, because the liturgy is not a means to an end. The liturgy is an end in itself. It's there to bring people together, to pray as a church for the particular intentions of that service. Which means that the words that we say are vitally important. The actions, the ceremonies of the priest are vitally important. The actions of the congregation in themselves are vitally important. Does the congregation cross themselves at the right moment, at the right moments in the Mass? Does the congregation face east for the creed particularly if you're in parallel choir formation? You face east for the creed. These ceremonies and liturgy, they matter so much. And again, as I mentioned, when I was talking about vestments, again, people can accuse us of becoming too bogged down in the little tiny bits of the liturgy. Indeed, that was the view of my last rector in the Church of England. You know, the liturgy doesn't really matter, does it? I think that's more or less a word-for-word quote. And I didn't retort. I should have retorted. Then why do we bother? Liturgy is something that's designed to do what the Lord commands: to love God and to love neighbour. To love God because we're directing ourselves, we're presenting ourselves in worship toward God. To love neighbour in that the liturgy brings us together, whether we like each other or not. It brings us together, and we are praying the same prayers, and those prayers mean the same thing, whether we want them to or not. And we hear the same verses. Indeed, St. Benedict says, at Lauds and Vespers, that the abbot should say the Lord's Prayer out loud. In the other offices, it's often said secretly. You don't really say it out loud. You say it to yourself. But at Lauds and Vespers, you are to say the Lord's Prayer out loud, because it contains the phrase, "Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us." And that's part of our liturgy. It's part of the prayers which we are to make in conjunction with Christ's whole church. So, the details of the liturgy really do matter. Of course, we have different types of liturgy. We've got, for example, we've got in the Mass, as I say, in the Anglican Catholic Church, we have the Mass, we have the Book of Common Prayer, we have the Missal. And the Missal conforms to the Book of Common Prayer in that it's in English, and that the collects and themes tie up. But clearly there are things in the Missal that aren't in the BCP, prayers to the saints, for example. But whatever we use, we have to be faithful to that system that we are using. So if we're using the Book of Common Prayer, then we should be faithful to what that Book of Common Prayer says. If we're faithful to the Missal, we should be faithful to what the Missal says. And it's that strive for excellence. It's that strive for communion of spirit, even in the non-sacramental offices. There is a unity of spirit that we should be striving for. And so to say liturgy, oh, it doesn't really matter, or to dumb it down, i.e. take away the bits that people don't understand, is a terrible, terrible travesty. You can't do that, because it tears away at the tradition of the Church. It tears away the tradition of prayers that Church has always said right from the beginning. And to dumb it down is it takes away the richness that one finds in liturgy. So that means, as Christians, we do have to think to ourselves, what's stopping me from saying the liturgy fully and properly with attention and devotion? What's stopping me? And yes, often it's outside things that are going on in your mind, things that are going on in your home, your work. Yes, that's what crowds into your head when you don't want it to. But the words of the liturgy are there for you to come out of your head and onto the paper. So when your mind does wander, you can go straight, right, where am I? I'm in the Nicene Creed. I'm saying the Nicene Creed. Let's get back to the words on the page, so that we now focus back. And once we sort of train ourselves to do that, and I'm not saying it's easy, my mind wanders all over the place. But it's something that the words of the liturgy are there to bring me back to what I should be doing, where I should be directing my thoughts. So we should not allow our liturgy to become second-rate. It should be the best that we can do. Remember that for a Catholic, the height of worship in the Catholic religion is the sacrifice of the Mass. And we should be giving that the full attention. And likewise the prayers of the Church, the ones that we say daily, the ones that we say by ourselves, the ones we say with other people, we say them according to what we see in front of us. Because that way we focus out of ourselves, we focus out of the troubles of our hearts and onto something that is external and eternal. So God bless you. God bless you if you are in a parish where everything is done liturgically properly. Pray that you don't get discouraged by that, but rather may see in it that richness which draws you to appreciate the beauty of God in his Church. God bless you if you belong to a church that is rather laissez-faire about liturgy. God bless you that your own attention to detail, and particularly to your own prayer life, may prove to springboard you into the love of God, and to knowing the Catholic Church around you. And God bless you, that together we may enjoy the liturgy of heaven, which we know exists because we join it when we say, Holy, holy, holy Lord God of hosts. Heaven and earth are full of thy glory. God bless you, and please pray for me.